What is focus, and who has the right to say what focus is the legitimate focus? Julia Margaret Cameron was 48 years old when she received her first camera, a gift from her daughter and son-in-law, with a note saying, "It may amuse you, Mother, to try to photograph during your solitude." Her husband was overseas in Ceylon to supervise a coffee plantation, and their 6 children had all grown and moved away. Very few women had taken up photography, but she took to it eagerly, making a chicken coop her photo studio and a coal house her darkroom. It was demanding work and involved caustic chemicals. Photographic paper and negatives had to be made by hand, and she labored to get the chemistry right. All through the severe month of January, I felt my way literally in the dark, through endless failures, and at last came endless successes. May I not call them so? Within a year, she was exhibiting her photographs. Cameron and her husband were well connected in a circle of artists, writers, and luminaries of London society, who were frequently her guests and portrait subjects. The naturalist Charles Darwin, the poet Alfred Tennyson, the philosopher Thomas Carlyle, painters, writers, scientists. She had great admiration for these famous friends, and in her pictures she cast them in the roles of legendary kings and heroes. The astronomer Sir John Herschel had been a pioneer in photographic chemistry and appears in Cameron's photos with a mystical aura, like some ancient sage. Women in Cameron's photos are posed as characters from the myths and legends popular in the Victorian era. Alice Liddell, who had been the inspiration for Lewis Carroll's Alice, appears in several of these. Portrait studios were common enough around England, but Cameron found the popular portraits uninspired and soulless. She wanted her pictures to be something more than simple depictions of the real world. She aspired to combine the real and the ideal without sacrificing truth. The photographic societies of London and Scotland were deeply critical of Cameron's photos, above all ridiculing her use of soft focus. A reviewer in London's Photographic Journal wrote disparagingly, "Mrs. Cameron exhibits her out-of-focus portraits of celebrities. We must give this lady credit for daring originality, but at the expense of all other photographic qualities." Cameron wrote to John Herschel, "What is focus, and who has the right to say what focus is the legitimate focus?" In spite of the harsh criticism, the luminaries of Cameron's circle recognized that she was on to something greater. With their encouragement, she persevered and would produce some of the most subtle and sophisticated portraits of her day. Cameron never attained critical acclaim in her lifetime. The first book of her photos appeared nearly 50 years later, published by her great-grandniece, Virginia Woolf. Gradually, her work was rediscovered and would profoundly influence new generations of photographers. While the commercial photographers of her day strove for polish and precision, Cameron was concerned with higher truths. The murky shadows and the very shallow depth of field, which gave her pictures their dramatic, dreamlike quality, was highly deliberate. Julia Margaret Cameron knew precisely how not to focus her pictures.